everybody. Thanks for tuning in today to Real Estate Steals, Deals, and Opportunities. And today we're going to share a quick lesson on how to choose the right property manager. For those of you who are investing and realize the value in accumulating a portfolio of rentals for the future, then this is something you're at some point in time going to want to learn all about. I suggest that you hire a property manager from the very first rental so you can continue to focus on acquiring more, because where you focus is what expands, and that's where you're going to make your money, not in managing the property yourself. The pennies that you will save managing the property yourself will cost you from buying several more properties in the course of those years, or the course of that effort that you are putting into growing that portfolio. Fortunately, we own a property management company, so we're able to just focus on acquiring and then handing it over to the property management side. And so whether you own the company or not, that's something you just want to focus on, getting the property and getting the next one, and then delegating what it is to an expert that you don't have to do yourself in order to acquire wealth. So with so many property managers to choose from, how can you know which property management company is best suited to fit your needs? So from personal experience and from the feedback from our own clients, I'm going to share with you some of those answers. Building a portfolio of rental properties is a great plan, especially if your current retirement plans are sketchy. And for people in the real estate industry that are working for themselves, whether they're brokers, they're agents, they're investors, they really let go of any retirement plans that they had when they left corporate America or left their jobs. And now they're focusing on this full time. And if they don't put their own retirement plan together, then that means they expect to still be flipping homes when they're 100 years old. So the plan to retire is really a pipe dream, because nothing's being done to make retirement actually possible, at least at the age that they're planning to do it at. So we all think, oh, I'm going to be retired by the time I'm 40. Oh, well, now I'm 40. So I'm going to retire by the time I'm 50. Oh, well, now I'm 50. So I'm going to retire by the time I'm 60. And then we keep having those birthdays and making new plans and extending them out further. So there's nothing like starting today. And so if you don't have your retirement plan put together, then it's time to do that now. So may I suggest growing a portfolio of rental properties because you're interested in being a real estate investor, or you already are. Folks in the real estate investment business should take the accumulation of rentals seriously if they plan to retire at all. And regardless of what profession you are in or what job you may have, the retirement plans that you have in effect right now, how likely are they to truly carry you and pay for all of your needs, or at least the lifestyle you would want to have at retirement? How likely is that amount of money that you think is going to be there when you're retiring going to be to cover what you want your expenses to be at that time, or what you foresee them to be? So in addition to that, again, I recommend that you accumulate rental properties. In addition to the rental income that you will receive now, you will also accumulate the appreciation on the property. So let's talk about that a little bit more. So how do you grow a portfolio of rentals while managing them at the same time? Well, you shouldn't. It's almost impossible. The best thing to do is to delegate management to a professional property management company. So any smart business person is going to delegate what can be delegated, right? So my focus is acquisition. So I am constantly acquiring a new listing, a new property, a new flip, a new rental. And if I'm focusing on that, guess what? My income's going to expand. But if I'm so penny pinching that I'm not going to pay 10% to a management company, I'm going to do that myself and save 10%. Well, now I'm short-sighted, and I'm going to only accumulate a few rentals in the same amount of time that I could actually really increase income and increase my portfolio if I'm focusing on what I do best, which is acquisitions, and delegating to someone else what they do best, which is property management. So here's what to look for. A property management company should have experience and, of course, a good reputation. Now, whenever I go out and meet with an expert, whether it's a tax expert or an attorney, someone that I want to delegate business to, or delegate my work to, delegate anything that concerns me to, I want experience and I want a good reputation. But what I want more is someone who actually invests in real estate themselves, because then I know for sure that they have an understanding of exactly what my needs are. So I also like to find a property management company that are also investors and they own properties, they manage their properties for themselves as well. They need to have relationships with licensed vendors. Again, it's another place where we don't want to cheap out and hire a handyman to fix everything, because ultimately we pay for that in the long run. You know, we can spend a lot of money on Band-Aids, Band-Aids, Band-Aids. Well, by the time we have run out of Band-Aids and the problem can no longer be fixed by a Band-Aid, we've made the problem so much worse that now we have to spend all that money that we spent on Band-Aids again on replacement. So sometimes you have to stop being short-sighted and stepping over dollars to save pennies. And you work with the professionals that can fix something right the first time, or say, hey, just replace this. Because the newer you keep your home, the better you keep your home, the better tenant that you will attract to your property and the longer they will stay. Every single time you have a move out or what's called a turnover, you lose money and you decrease your yield on your investment. Your appreciation may be growing, but your return on your investment decreases. So you want to reduce turnover by taking care of your properties professionally. Thorough tenant leasing process. That means that they have a thorough application process, screening process, and leasing process with great forms and all of that, as well as a retention program. And we are strong believers in communication. If we are communicating with our owners and we're communicating with our tenants, they feel that they are appreciated and cared for. We have literally had tenants that tell us they have to relocate to another part of the area, and do we have anything that's vacant that they can move into, because they've never had a better landlord that was so attentive to their needs when they had one. And so we have even had tenants that we've had for years that needed to relocate because the owner was selling their property, that we love these tenants so much, we literally bought another rental in the neighborhood and moved them into it. And so, you know, relationships mean a lot. We knew we had a good long-term tenant and they're still there. So, you know, the application needs to cover all the bases, and also there's a lot of legal format to discrimination and other things. So you want to make sure that they understand all of that. The screening process is the most important part of the leasing process, because this is where you find out about prior evictions, prior criminal arrests, prior anything negative, as well as credit checks, etc. So, you know, since everything went bust a few years ago, we don't have such a high standard or a strict criteria for credit, but we put a lot of bearing on how long they've been at their job, how much income that they're earning, and you know, a few other criteria that makes them a strong tenant. And we're looking for their length of time they have been at previous rental locations. So we're looking for long-term tenants that seem solid and strong. That's why a lot of times we personally don't like to buy one-bedroom homes. One-bedroom properties or units turn over more often. So we want to be buying those super low, because we already know that our yield will be decreased. And if we want to maintain a high yield, we're going to spend less money on the units. So larger units usually mean families are moving in, kids planted in school have to stay. So we look for properties that bring the type of tenant that are usually a longer term, which gives us, again, a better return on our investment. So attorney prepared forms, we don't recommend using the forms that the Board of Realtors provides. They are, according to our attorneys' referrals, not the best forms. They're not necessarily in favor of the landlord or the property manager. So we use attorney prepared forms. And, you know, when you do all of this right, guys, we have very few evictions because when you prepare and plan and do it right, you don't have to spend money on the evictions. Things typically work out, or you work out an arrangement to move a tenant out who's having a hard time. Detailed owner reports. You definitely want to manage every single penny. Just because you delegate the property off doesn't mean that you trust these people to do everything for you. And if they tell you you're making money, that's all you need to hear. You need to have detailed owner reports that come to you on a monthly basis. And These reports also will be accumulated for you at the end of the year in all of the formats that your CPA needs to see and have in order to do your tax return. So our detailed owner reports include all of that, as well as when vendors have to go out and do work, our vendors are required to take before and after pictures of the work, so that our owners who are not local can see that actually these things are being done. So there's a lot of ways to keep owners happy, the properties being not run down, and the tenants staying, good tenants being put in and good tenants staying and retained. And then of course rent collection. The easier that the property management company makes it for the tenants to pay rent, the better. So you want to ask the property management company, do your tenants have the ability to go online and make a payment? Do they have the ability to drop off a payment? What are the ways that the tenant can pay? We have little barcode things. They can go into any 7-Eleven and pay their rent. They can go online if they have a computer. They can pay their rent right online if they have a credit card or a checking account. So there are really no excuses for being late and saying, I couldn't make it to the drop box. We've given our tenants a lot of ways that they can pay their rent on time. And so these are just a few bullet points of what you should look for in a property management company who is investor friendly and understands how to keep your rental portfolio growing in the right direction so that you can have a comfort level that that's happening and you can go acquire more. Okay, so here's why. So that property management company, when they're doing and handling everything right for you, you have peace of mind that that's truly being taken care of. You are not the one getting the calls at the middle of the night because a toilet busted, right? You're hearing about it later in your report, but you're not the one getting the calls. The priorities in your life are now, that's professionally delegated. Let me go find more properties because that is what I can focus on and that will expand for me. Because what you focus on expands, so focus on your future and let a professional handle the rest. All right, so if you are interested in buying rental properties, certainly reach out to us. We'd love to sell them to you in the South Florida area. And I hope that that has helped you learn more about rentals, portfolios, accumulating rentals, and finding a professional property management company to delegate to. So I hope you enjoyed what you learned about a good property management company, finding one. And if you did, then learn more about real estate investing and other amazing topics online via live interactive video conference classes at learnfromgreen.com, because when you increase your knowledge, you increase your income. Thanks for tuning in today, guys.